What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling good. We got Amy now. Good morning to you. Good morning to Andy, Bill, Cheryl, Chris, Cindy. Good morning to you. Good morning to Jeff. Jimmy, the stick is in the house. Good morning to Joe, JT, Kevin, Lauren, Lucian. We got Martina. Michael's in the house. Good morning to Mike. Good morning to Rob, Rick. We got Rock in the house. We got Sarah, Shane. Tim is in the house. Good morning to you, all my people out in YouTube land, all my larkers in the background. Just not gonna say nothing all day. It's okay. I still love you. Hit that like and subscribe button. But whew, going crazy. Jeff saying it's National Retail Trader FOMO Day. Pull Lunar Sound. Yep, check your calendars. That is a factual statement. That is. So I'm surprised the market's not closed on that day to give people more FOMO of like, man, one more day I could be in this thing. But yeah, you got some names running. We got the spies still kind of popping up a little bit. So gapping up into all-time highs. I believe we were slightly higher than this one. What was the high? At least I don't know about after hours, but according to TOS, at least we got 629.80 was the high of this pop. We're not too far off of that. We have a little bit of a retest gap. You also have, I mean, again, the location is gonna throw it off a little bit. Hold on, let me get to screen share, right? Yep, that's probably gonna make some sense. We got a little bit of three bar reversal at the top. So we had this candle again. This candle, this open was a retest of 1, 2, 3, 4 days, good consolidation. The scary part on that one was where this thing wanted to close. So this thing closed as a bearish engulfing candle. Obviously, I don't on a news-based fundamental level. You're still I'm still searching for a story why we should be bearish. There's still I think I saw a report that the money in market the funds in money markets have increased and they were already at all-time highs. So I think it's like $7 trillion, 7.4 trillion. That is just money waiting on the sideline. That makes it very, very tough. Or when we have a dip, that is money that people will allocate into the markets, into higher risk, higher return type investments, and it just makes it very tough. And I think the word FOMO that Jeff was using before is correct. You have all those people sitting there going, maybe we should have not sold the big dip and held it. So I think FOMO is real for not just those three, but across the board. And you have a lot of money just sitting there as the market's at all-time highs. But for today, we have a retest gap. Let's see if we get a little pullback. Watch this 628.01. I think Tony was pretty spot on yesterday, looking at 628 as some kind of resistance to the market. We essentially closed right into it. And today, bulls proving that's just not high enough. So we're gapping up a little bit. But again, Friday trading, see if we get a little pullback, see if we get a retest of the 628, and then I it looks to me so far we want to go higher, unless again we get some kind of another bearish engulfing candle, something like that, cause a little bit more like what do we do from here? But right now looks all fairly bullish. Let's check out the cues. Yep, Netflix had earnings, and then we start Wednesday. I think we start getting a lot of we have earnings Monday, Tuesday, but Wednesday I think is going to start to be the big one. I know Tesla's included in that one. A couple other big names as well. So we'll see what happens after earnings. And I said if we can survive earnings, if they come in not half bad or decent earnings, I can't even imagine what happens if we have good earnings pretty much across the board. But there's got to be some companies in here getting smacked around. But for the most part, if we hang in there pretty decent. I'll take it. That's what else do we need? I don't know. We got the Qs. Qs also gapping up into all-time highs as well. Also a little bit of a retest gap. So again, maybe at open, and it looks like pre-market we kind of pulled back a little and starting to run already. But 561.94 would be your retest spot. Your target for today on Qs is infinity. I've got nothing up there, so it looks like we probably want to continue. Pretty good bullish day yesterday. Today is Friday. Maybe we get a little, maybe we get some sideways action, small resting candle, and then we look to set it up for Monday. Let's check out the weekly candle on the Qs. Weekly candle, we've just been straight running. This is now, if we end up strong close, we'd have to have a pretty big disaster somewhere in the market to close under 553.42. But candle's still open. We'll see what happens. Right now, it looks like it does want to close nice and strong for the week as well. So Qs looking pretty fantastic, above all moving averages. And it looks to me like the market will want higher. We'll see where this wants to open. Make sure we don't get a pullback first. check out Bitcoin, BTC, USD. Not all-time high, new highs on Iran. All right, we'll check that one out. Yeah, we're gonna have to start digging deep because all these everything else is at all-time highs. Kind of a little tough. You got Bitcoin is consolidating still, looks strong, holding on. I know some other names were getting some decent pops last night. Bitcoin kind of just hanging in the zone. Watch for resistance on this one, 119,302. That's the first one we got to take out. After that, and we've tried it twice, we just had some profit taking anytime we've been breaking through this 120. So people are looking at this 120 zone as a little bit of a deep resistance if we get candles to close above it. Next, psychological would be 123, 224, but most likely we probably start taking that out if we get some candles to close finally through 120. For support, you have a couple levels in here. I would say the bigger one is essentially the low of yesterday, 118,529. If that breaks, we might have room down to 117,757. And then just an absolute gorgeous looking support that we really have to hold 117,281. So we have some room to chop around, but looks like it's just consolidating at this point. Nothing too crazy. Let's see. Let's take a look at the FOMO names for the day. This portion of the show is introduced by Jeff's FOMO. We got Bull. Absolutely fantastic breakout day yesterday. Loving the close on it. So bigger resistance on this one was about $14.32. We've now closed above it, which is fantastic. For today, after I think it was about a what, 11, yeah, almost 12% day yesterday, just under 12%, but very good close nonetheless. Usually, after you have a day like this, you get some kind of a pullback that would make sense for a retest. We want to use this 1432 as support. We really don't want to break it, and we don't want to close underneath it. But as long as we can stay above it, that probably put some more momentum in for Monday. You are also gapping above the opening price of this July 3rd candle, which was kind of the last little pivot. So that's pretty fantastic. And then you got some room up to like $15.60. We were in the $15 mark last night, and we did pull back a little bit since. Other than that, next big spot, somewhere around this 15.27 would be a huge spot if we could get closes above that. I think that takes us to 15.49. And then we have nothing up till the 16.15 range again. So starting to look good. Nice little even inverted head and shoulders today. I don't know, maybe we don't have as much momentum. It is bull. There's a lot of shorts in this thing. If we get some kind of squeeze, I'd see if you get a pullback first, but it is looking like it is trying to break out. Lunar. Lunar eclipse. We got this one. Be careful on this one. I think you have some resistance again. Pretty nice breakout day yesterday. Decent close. I would like to see this one open above $12.65 for a run, but if it starts breaking there through the day, see if you get some continuation. Otherwise, this one's opening into a little resistance, and it is a pretty fairly big retest. A full-on retest of yesterday would take us back down to $12.01. So I think if you got the FOMO and you're just trying to sit on your hands, wait for some kind of pullback, that would be a fairly good spot to get in. Other than that, I don't know if I really know if we get there today. I've got $12.26, also a very good level. And then you have somewhere around $12.13 as another support. So we'll see what the market wants to do. I don't think I'd be a buyer on Lunar here, unless you're going for a swing trade. And even with that, I think you get a slightly better price. Wait for some pullback. That is a retest on that one. Soundhound, Soun. Soundhound is also opening into a little bit of resistance. So watch the price of $12.92 if we can get above it. We've got some more room to run on these. Again, these are all momentum stocks, looking pretty good. Otherwise, again, if we get a full-on retest, and I don't want to really see that today, because then if we do get there, if we're getting in as a swing trade, yeah, $12.50 would be decent. For a day trade, getting in $12.57, it is it's a little tougher because then we got to get climb back to this 12.83 for today, which still 30 cents is a decent move if I guess if you're on a day trade. But yeah, where I got the FOMO on this one yesterday, it wasn't even this one. They updated the alert. They updated the alert, but we were looking for that pullback. I think right around here We tried to take it at 1266. That was our first alert. I think it was 1266 or 1166. I forget the trade. But yeah, we were up in here. It did pull back. Yeah, 1266. It pulled back right into wherever our entry was, and then this thing started to run. So pulled the order. Oh, hold on. I might be thinking SoFi. SoFi, I think was 1260. I remember 66. So maybe it was SoFi actually, but yeah, still looks good. All the momentum names continues to run. Netflix did have earnings, and they were pretty good. Not bad earnings for Netflix. However, after a stock that has just absolutely been crushing, maybe look for a pullback. I don't even know. This gap is a gap and go to the bear side. Good luck. Good luck to any bears out there. I don't know. We still got it is a gap and go, but you have your support $12.39. If that could break, or $12.39. This is how crazy Netflix has gone. We have $1,239.94. If we start to break that down, all right, then you got my blessing. You come in a little bit lower. I think your next target probably takes you to this 1229 zone. So that gets you some more room. Otherwise, being in this location, I'd see if you get a bounce here first. If you want to short, I think the higher you come in, and that might be close to watch. See what happens at 1248. Otherwise, maybe you get into like this 1254 zone. But there could definitely be some buyers sitting here. But this is definitely gap and go. Again, earnings not bad. They were good earnings. Just kind of selling from profit taking, probably more than anything else. A little run up into earnings on that one. I ran. Not to be confused with something I never do, which is I run. So this is very different. I ran. Nice move so far. Powerhouse move since April 7th. Getting from essentially $5 you're up 3x on this one at the moment over that. And it looks like it wants more continuation. Again, retest gap, lots of consolidation. I think if you're getting a pullback, look for like 1792 on this one. Let's see how far out this one is. I don't know how much this is going to play into it, but yeah, one tiny move, 1861. You got a couple levels up in here, but nothing really, really too impressive. So it does look like it is on a mission to break out, continue further. I think this one, even though it's had a big move already, I think it has more room in it. See if you can get it a little bit lower, close to that. What do we say? 1719, 1791 zone. Yep. The closer you get to that, I think the better. Then you could probably throw your stop somewhere around like 1640, 1614. That would be a nice little swing trade if you want it. Day trade, I'm not sure how this thing moves, but or where we go today. There is some micro resistance, but I think this thing looks like it wants to break out. Google, Googl. Jenny, what's up, Jenny? We got Google. So here's a warning on Google. Again, it's not here yet, but just something to watch for just in case. If we get up and you still got some room, we get up to like 190 zone and we fail. So we do something like this, we start to fail. On the chart, we have a decent looking head and shoulders. We do have this nice little double bottom. That would be your neckline. And we'll see where Google wants to go from here. Earnings, not too far away. They're coming out very soon. So we'll see. This is obviously not happening, just something to watch for. If we just continue higher, the highest point or highest spot I think this thing could run up to is about 202.71, and then anything past that probably run into all-time highs. Lots and lots of consolidation up here, so that would also be a very good spot for some bears to attempt to short this one. But we're just looking good so far for today's price action. We did have a green candle yesterday. This is leaning a little bit toward the retest side of things. Nice gap though. Let's see if we get a pullback into like this. I don't want to see a full retest of yesterday, which would be 182.79. I think if you could hold this 183.81, that would be a decent attempt to go long. You are into a little bit of consolidation. Let's zoom in on that consolidation. How many bars are we actually taking out on this one? And where's that volume coming in? So that volume's all the way up here. A really good price target for today. I think a really strong resistance is 186.45 if you get up there. Good volume, nice VPOC. Before you get there, you have to watch to see if you can break this 185.21. So if we can break that 185.21, then I have us at that 186.45-ish. But we'll see if we're just chopping around on Google, and it is a retest gap. So again, probably be a little patient on the entry on that one. NCLH. Norwegian Cruise Line is cruising. Not a lot of volume to really hold us back, so we're kind of in a pretty good range. This is quite the run up that we've had into it. It would make sense if we get a retest, and yesterday was also a retest gap too. Again, nothing really holding you back from going higher, so I don't think I would short this one, but if it does pull back into the 23.66, that's probably your buy spot. It's not bad. It's about 30 cents lower from where we're at now. So not horrible, but yeah, that's still running. CVX bouncing today on Hess acquisition news. I would expect it to. CVX. Yeah, so that's up nicely. That is also clearing a pivot. The one thing with that news, and I think Exxon Mobil, I believe, is also kind of in the running for the acquisition too. Is that one getting? Yeah, that one's gapping down slightly. So CVX was the play, but there was rumors there was an expected acquisition. They've been talking about this for a while. So now that you kind of have more confirmation, this might lead into a sell the news type situation. You are at a little bit of resistance. I'd be a little more inclined to short this one. But watch what happens somewhere around, let's go a tad higher. Watch what happens around 157.21. If we start breaking out, I'm gonna get out of that short mentality. So any candles closing above 157.21, unless it wants to break down again, um, that would be my sign of this news holds, and we're not gonna sell really on the news. We did have some selling prior to this one after some kind of run up, so some profit taking came in. I think this one probably fades. Look for targets to like 150.44. Anything more intense would take you to like 153.13. So we'll watch this one. Let's get this one a little bit higher on the list. See how this one wants to play out. And then the other acquisition news, and I didn't want to pull it up, but we will. NSC. We were talking about this one. We were in it. I got into a day trade off the indicator yesterday. I just hated how it traded. I'm just not loving being in this thing. But then I was going to move my targets down to 170, which would have been a 1.2. So I was just trying to bail as soon as possible. I'd rather taking something with more momentum. But not only would we have hit the 1.2 on a day trade yesterday, if anybody held, you'd clearly be at your 2 hour target off the DJ Dan precision entry indicator. But for any of you guys that just didn't get bored out of your minds and held, congrats, you, you made some nice wins on that one. I took a small loss and then moved money to AVAV. It was a lot quicker of a 2 hour trade, so I'm happy with the move. But yeah, it just I even said I was like the only reason I'm getting out of this thing is boredom. It was just chopping, and I was like, yeah, I don't know. But that was another one with a acquisition with a buyout. So they're already kind of running up a little bit too. For today, it is a retest gap for today, but if it depends on what price they're getting bought out at, and it might just hover around that zone for a bit. We got Meta, so I wouldn't go short on that one. Meta is for today just hanging out, nothing too crazy. It is into a little bit of support. We are trying to hold that support from yesterday. I think this one could get a little bit lower. We'll see. But right now, you're opening pretty much flat at yesterday's VPOC. So who knows what happens here if this is a spot where we get some kind of pullback in a longer term basis. If you're trying to get meta for a swing, I mean, you could try. Maybe we just shoot up from here. I don't know. But this to me looks like a one, two, three. Even if this thing gets bought up, I think we get into the zone. Got to wait for that 4 or 5. That's probably that lower dip that comes in. So for day trade, you do have some risk to reward to a bullish case for today. If it doesn't break down, or if we get the open where we're sitting now, your stop's probably the low day, 696.80, 696.87. Somewhere in that zone, you probably have some room up to 708.65 for a target to the bull side. But even with that, you have one other tiny resistance, 703.24. So that would be your confirmation if you start getting above that. Probably some better opportunities in the market, but this does give you some risk reward if you're going to get a bounce here. It is into a little bit of support. So we'll see how Meta wants to play out today. We got MU. That's quite the interesting hammer off the 50 EMA yesterday. I keep forgetting what Yates's buy level is. I gotta shoot him a text. I gotta find out what he said. But I know he's been waiting for this little pullback. So it is here. We talked about this level yesterday, where we were open yesterday. It was I think pre-market when we looked, it was somewhere probably around the closing price, somewhere around this 113.37. We saw there was some resistance right above us. That's still gonna be resistance for today, 114.29-ish. But you do have some bulls established in position. If we start getting above the opening price, now maybe you're looking for that gap fill, or at least targets into like 115.73. Otherwise, we said if this thing falls, we have a better entry somewhere probably around 111.33, and we hit that one perfectly, got the bounce. So that has had a fair pullback, decent. You have this gap fill, I think you'd be looking for. You are above yesterday's VPOC, so if you want to try to buy it lower, not wait for the break, get yourself a little bit better risk reward. You're trying to come in as close as possible to 113.07. The caveat here is if Friday trading, the market's up a lot, individual names are up a lot. If the overall market wants to rest today, it's not going to help MU. If the market's going to pull back today, just for some profit taking into the weekend, that's also not going to help MU. And then you probably have a better, stronger setup if the market wants to rerun again tomorrow, yes, the Saturday trading, Monday. Other than that, if the market's rallying, it's good, it's strong, then I think buying this 113.07, throwing your stop at the low of yesterday can get you a decent trade. Just watch that risk reward, see if you can see if you can really get to a 2 hour target on it. This way, if you get a 1.2, you're just as happy. Twilio, TWLO. Twilio is sneaky, actually. That one looks very, very sneaky. Depending on where this one opens, if this opens at 127 or higher, I think this one's very sneaky for a high wave play. This one's going to the top of the list. It's got some room to run. It is a little bit of a retest gap. I'll take a high wave candle on it if it wants to set us up. Let's put this one all the way up here. And target for today, if we open 127 or higher or get past 127 at some point, the next real target on this one for a swing basis would take you to about 138.28. For today, I'd probably be gunning for 131.98, see if we get to the high end of that candle. I think there would be a lot of momentum that has to come in for us to break that, but this would look pretty fantastic. I think you are looking for some gap fills up there, and that would take care of a lot of the bag holders that just sat there, refused to sell, getting the opportunity to get out. But this candle with that breakdown, that gap, yeah, you want to be above that VPOC. I actually even have it maybe at 126.89. I'll go with 127 though. Let's give myself some room. So see if there's a little chop at open. Very, very important spot on Twilio. And if we could break, I think momentum does step into that one. All right. We got Hood. Hood for Bijal. Hood is on fire. He actually says Hood eyed on fire. But I'm gonna assume that is on fire. Really good run up. I can't paint a picture of a more retest gap than this one. Pure run up, 3 days of green candles. Um, it is Hood. It's got all the momentum in the world. It is on fire, and it eyed on fire as well. So it looks really good. If this thing opens and keeps going, so be it. It will go without me. If you get your pullback, look for 105.72 to establish position. But that is definition retest gap. I can't fade something this strong, but that is a retest gap. I wouldn't be buying it open. Maybe if you're in it, get some profit taken at open. That's what I would do if I had shares of Hood. But my cover call has got me out a little bit sooner than 109. So we'll see. We got Riot. Right for Lucian Daniel. This one, yeah, this one looks good. Let's also take a look at Coin and Mar too. I think we got some time. But we got Coinbase, we got Riot opening into one little resistance from over here. If you could get above 1348, I think you got targets up to $14, which is not a bad move for a $13.50 stock. Retest gap from yesterday. I think I'd rather see this one fully pull back to 1332, but watch the level we're at now. If it opens, puts in a nice strong candle, I think on the retest, be by the dip. Otherwise, if we open and fade, look to see what happens at 1336 on Riot. Coinbase, I think, was also making a good move. They passed the crypto bill last night. This one was running even more so than this. It's already pulled back a little bit, but again, retest gap. Look for 411, 76. Be patient at open. Definitely could get momentum. Maybe a good play for that high wave candle as well if it opens with a little indecision. Zim. We got Zim is running. This one's been kind of pulling back. This is the Israeli shipping company, right? A little bit of a pullback. To me, we've not a great close yesterday. You do have a potential double bottom in here. They are gapping going for today, but right into resistance. I don't think I'd be going long on Zim yet. Be patient, wait. If we get closes, if we get any closings starting like after today, 1551, and then we get another closing the next day, 1560. If you're trying to go long on this one, wait for at least 1560 to close, and then maybe that starts to establish double bottom. Right now, that was not a terrific close, but you are getting some bulls trying to step in on this one. Targets the downside. I mean, we have a lot of room. Technically, we can get all the way back to $14.26 in a longer term perspective on Zim. So be careful on that one. I don't think I'd want to buy the dip quite yet. Let some bulls come in, and we'll go from there. B job made 30K on Hood. Nice. All right, let's see. For some reason, I can't scroll all the way to the bottom of YouTube. I don't know why. Can't see those last comments. XYZ, aka Block, aka Square, aka Flavor of the Month. It's been looking good though. It's been looking good. We've had a nice rally from $44 to $72. Every stock has just been absolutely crushing. This one, impressive that we took out all of that volume. Down here, not that safe to say that we were going to do that. So short couple weeks ago, that would have been a big, big challenging area. We did chop around here for a bit. Nice close yesterday. Looks like we want to continue today. You are into another little volume spot, but all the bigger volume is below us. I think we are setting up for potentially a really good swing trade on this one. For today, if you want to get into it, again, if this thing could fade, and we'll see what the market wants. If we can get a fade, I'd be looking for $70.97. Google. Oh yeah, I figured out alerts. I'll tell you guys that in a second. But everybody in YouTube land, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button if you've not done so already. You guys are incredible, and I will catch you guys on